What is up? On our play for this week, secret level debuts at Gamescom Opening Night Live as a love letter to the video games industry. Can't forget that last word.
Hmm.
Xbox backtracks into some possibly good news on one of its biggest games of this year. Black Myth Wukong is changing the power structure of the third person action adventure genre. All this and more on Season 8, Episode 33 of Press X Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka Bow Staff Do Damage. I am joined by.
Sean MF Ross.
What does the M&F stand for?
I am not a monkey, but I like to play one from time to time.
Right? I am neither, but cosplay. This is Press X Star Gamers Digest, a video podcast that condenses the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you. We are live on YouTube every Sunday when we can make it, because life is hard.
But listening to us is easy.
Yes, it is. Don't forget, you can support us by liking our video, this video, by subscribing to the channel, this channel, and liking the video, this video. And then also hit the notification bell, because if you do that, you'll be able to see the rest of the stuff that we create all the time. It's just, video game stuff. Anyways, if you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or a podcast service you're currently tuned in on. And if you want, you can join our conversation by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. I had to kind of rush through all that to get that out the way because we got a a bunch of just stuff that happened because Gamescom is just literally happening right now as I'm talking. Actually, technically, yeah, because of the whole time difference in Germany. Yeah, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, now that's all out the way. Let's get into the gaming news. Number one, Gamescom Opening Night Live. I had to make sure this was okay. Games Night Opening Night Live 2024. All the biggest announcements. I'm pulling this from GameSpot. So they ran down through a collection of the 2-hour long event. There was like 47 plus announcements that happened in this whole thing that Jeff Keighley puts on. Did you get a chance to watch any of it? No? Yeah.
No.
So yeah, there
I
was a
actually do
question.
work, DJ.
True. I had one eye on the show and one eye on the thing that was supposed to get done, and I got it done. But yeah, so like every year there's always a question of, you have Summer Game Fest, which is a Jeff Keighley production. Then you have Gamescom Opening Night Live, which is another Jeff Keighley production. Then you have the Game Awards, which is the tail end, the last event for the games industry of the year. And Gamescom has always been in that weird middle area where it's like you don't really get any really big announcements because those announcements are usually saved for Game Awards.
Yeah.
And then all the
Or the Tokyo
announcements
Game Show.
or yeah, Tokyo Game Show when that pops off sometimes. But like Gamescom has always been like sometimes a hit, sometimes a miss. And I
Yeah.
feel like this year's Gamescom was a pretty solid one. We're not going to go through all the announcements because no one has time for that. If you really want to watch that, then you can check the streams. They're everywhere. We didn't do a live react because it happened midday and we both have day jobs and we were doing our day jobs during the day. So sorry. But what we are going to do is go through some of the bigger announcements that I just happened to pull from the giant long list of announcements. So I'm going to run some trailers while we talk through it. So give me a second. Let me grab the thing that I have prepared. Well, there we go. Look at me being prepared. Okay. So the first thing, this is the first trailer actually that they showed, and Keighley made a joke about, well, this didn't leak. It was the Borderlands 4 trailer, teaser trailer. And though this didn't technically leak, it did kind of leak because Gearbox magician man, what's his name?
I don't
The
remember anybody from there.
yeah, the jeez, it's on the tip of my tongue too. Anyways, the guy that made Gearbox, made Borderlands, he basically kind of made a joke alluding to them working on Borderlands 4. So everyone was like, okay, well, Borderlands 4 is obviously happening. The trailer itself is really interesting. There's not too much that happens here other than some really cool, pretty CGI stuff.
Yeah.
The main thing that we see at the end of the trailer, though, is this robotic arm that's about to, yep, grab a mask that is a bandit. So, or a psycho, whatever. Um, so that's pretty cool. The the big takeaway from that, I think that everyone's kind of pointing to is that the art style looks completely different. The art style is a realistic looking arm. You know, it's metal though. So maybe it's possible that they are either moving into a different art direction, art style, or whatever. And then trailer ends with 2025. So this game's going to come out sometime next year. So I would imagine probably what's like the first big event? I mean, maybe like a state, like at a state of play or like a Xbox developer direct or something. We might get some footage
You
of.
think they'll get the exclusive?
I don't know. I there. I feel like Gearbox is just going to be like whoever wants to take the game can just put on their stuff, please. Just take
Mm.
it. Yeah. So we'll see on that. We'll see on that.
How shameless of them to piggyback off of the success of the movie.
Yes, the success of the movie that is coming to streaming services around you 11 days after it launched in theaters. Yikes. Um,
I'm
so
gonna
the next
still
game
watch
I
it.
have
I'm
on,
curious.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it when it streams, of course. Like, I'm not gonna spend money on it, but I'll watch it. So we're not gonna watch this whole thing. The next thing that they dropped was the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 trailer, which showcased a Mission Impossible themed like uh stage scenario.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of this during their um like focus, like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 like direct kind of style show when
Yeah.
they were talking about different parts of the game. It looks interesting. It looks cool. This is very very 90s spy like coded, and if you're interested in that, like this is gonna be right up your bag. They do show a couple of the like omni movement dodging or dolphin
Yeah.
diving, yeah. So they show all that stuff. It's a pretty cool trailer. It really gets into some of the things that could make this campaign really stand out against the rest of the campaigns. And the big question, at least for me, is that when Modern Warfare 3 launched, there was some issue, some anger with the whole open world, play it your own way structure of the campaign.
I never even touched it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, Treyarch came out and said, like, yeah, we're gonna have that same kind of system in
So
Black Ops 6. So it's like it kind of feels like people just kind of miss that, and they've really just been focusing on the fact that this is just Black Ops. This is not
mhm.
Modern Warfare, so it's gonna be a different thing, like different thing. So I'm interested to see exactly how they mesh with what they're showing us now versus what we know is going to be in the game. And of course, there's a whole multiplayer side of it that we're not going to touch. So yeah, this was a cool trailer. Actually, I'm just going to jump to the end part where
This shit look
we
like
we get
Pokemon Snap, but with dead bodies.
yeah. So like the end part goes really it goes really American. As you can see, there's the American flag on the ground right there. As you are fighting people, that was an Omni movement dodge. That was a homing throwing knife. That's pretty cool. But where I want to get to is this part. So as you can see, main character, you, and I guess side main characters, you're riding dirt bikes through, I
Mm,
think, the White House. Yeah, so there these scenarios, they usually like have some kind of chase scene in pretty much all of the Modern Warfare, maybe also I think Black Ops games as well. So
yeah,
it's more so like they have this list and like, okay, well, how can we make this scene interesting in this game?
bombastic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it should be cool. Should be interesting. I will get more of that later. Oh, like next week actually. I think the open beta is next week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it'll be multiplayer only.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
of course.
yes, yes, of course. But yes, that's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Nope, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Nailed it. Got it right the first time. You know what I mean? The next thing is Ark Raiders. I'm not gonna bother with this trailer. So Ark Raiders, we don't know too much about this game because the last time we saw it was in 2001, and it when we saw it, it was just like three-player co-op. They're running in like a desert scenario, and there was like giant robots,
Yeah.
and it looked cool. And the hope was, oh, it came up again. We're gonna see actual gameplay of this thing. We got no gameplay. It was another teaser trailer, and the last bit of the trailer was like, okay, there's gonna be a playtest happening later this fall with the game releasing sometime in 2025. So that's
Uh,
pretty much it for
looks
that.
like
And
October 27th, 24th to the 27th for the playtest.
oh, okay. So the actual time. Okay, good, good. So
Hmm.
that's good. Um, yeah, but again, like the fact that we're not seeing anything on this and we're getting a playtest this fall kind of gives me the same vibes as uh Concord, but it's on
I'll
just
give it
because
some
it's
time.
like say what?
I'd give it some time.
Yeah, I know, I know. At least the first thing that people are going to see is a playtest and not like the actual game kind of thing. But
Yeah.
again, don't know. The next thing on the list is Marvel Rivals. This was one of the trailers that kind of popped from that kind of this one of the trailers that popped for me. Um, they showed a little teaser of this the last time we saw Marvel Rivals stuff at Summer Game Fest, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but now we're getting to see the full trailer from this scene, and it is Bucky and Captain America going at it, and we get to see them fight in this little stylized trailer, and then we actually get to see their skill set in game. And Captain America has a shield; he can throw his shield around, and bounce off of people. He can also use a shield to deflect apparently super abilities, and in the trailer, he deflects Iron Man's like ultimate attack, and it's just like, well, is that seems a little that seems a
OP.
little problematic. But Bucky has this cool like grappling ability, and then he has like the Doom Fist like jump and strike thing, but he can do it multiple times, which
Mm.
also seems kind of broken. I don't know. I haven't played the game, so yeah. And then one of the other announcements that came with the Marvel Rivals trailer was that all the characters that will be released will be free forever. So that's awesome. Oh, and they also showed Doom at the end, who looks
Yeah.
like a complete bruiser, which is cool. Um, Next game on the list. Oh, you know what? Okay, so I jumped the gun. I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. Don't look at that. You didn't see that. The next game on our list is Genshin Impact, and I only put this on this because it's finally coming to Xbox November 20th. So good job. You guys will be able to spend a whole ton of money on that game and do a lot of catching up because we are in like Nation 6, and that game started in Nation 1 back in 2020, I think. So you got a lot of game to play. Uh the I put this game on the list not because I am going to play it, not because I care about this game, but just for the fact that Peter Molyneux showed up.
Yeah.
It's Master of Avion. It's a
Albion.
secret. Say what? Albion? Oh yeah,
Albion.
yeah. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, Albion. It's a secret project developed by Fable creator Peter Molyneux. So if you don't know who Peter Molyneux is, as the text just said, he's the Fable creator. He also came on stage during the Connect era of Microsoft and had the demo of the kid Nemo. Nemo, the kid name starts with the N. Essentially, this demo was a completely crazy and creepy demo where you can just talk to this kid in his room. There's just so many things wrong, especially now in our year 2024. It's just like that shouldn't be a game that you're just sitting there just talking to this little kid. Like that's just weird. Anyways, at the time, he tried to spin it as like just like, oh, this is the next step of communication in like gaming, and it's just like no, no one really bought it. Nothing happened. That whole demo, that whole game became vaporware because it didn't come out as an actual game. Nothing happened from it. And then Peter Molyneux went to mobile games and he created this NFT game
Mm.
that got him into a lot of hot water because, as we know, NFTs are bad. They're
They're the
bad.
best.
And he basically was I forget the actual game because I did not play it. I think we talked about it like once or twice on the podcast when it came out a while ago. But it's like you click on this thing, and at the end of the game, there's like a million clicks to get to the end, and like whoever clicks on it last will get the thing, or whoever clicks on
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah. It was some weird game that like didn't take off.
Yeah.
Anyways, this game, Master of Albion, is a God game because Peter Molyneux is known for his God games. It is set in the world of Fable, but it has no connection to Xbox or the current Fable game. So,
We'll see how that goes.
yeah, that possible lawsuit incoming with this thing. And even Peter Molyneux is like kind of shaky on if he's actually able to do this legally or not.
Hmm.
So, we'll see. This might also be vaporware. But yeah. So, next game is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So there was this really, in-depth trailer showing some of the stuff that we've seen before. I believe this is with Troy Baker narrating this because he's playing the voice of Indiana Jones.
Hmm.
Yes, this is that trailer actually. So all this looks cool. There goes Troy himself doing this thing. Um, and we finally got a release date for this, which is December 9th. And then after the release date, we got another release date for the PlayStation 5 coming in spring 2025. So I'm gonna let the trailer play because I just want to talk about this a little bit. There was some rumblings in the rumor mills about a Xbox game is gonna be coming to PlayStation, and people was guessing that was gonna be Horizon, a Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon. I don't know. You know what the racing game, the Xbox racing game, was going to be that
Yeah.
game. Then some people say that it might be Flight Sim, and then people were just kind of throwing out guesses left and right. I didn't see anything about Indiana Jones. So
Mm.
when it turned out to be Indiana Jones, that was a big shock. And it's just like, oh, the the big Xbox game of this year is now coming to PlayStation. And it's like surprising, but it's not that surprising. And we're also going to talk about it in a story in a few minutes. But I just wanted to like start off with that. Um, so yeah, that's Indiana Jones. The next game was this was a surprise to me, although I'm not that big in the Mafia, but this is the Mafia, the old country.
Yeah. Damn,
So
when
are
did the
you?
last one come out?
I couldn't tell you.
Mafia 3? I'm listening.
Yeah,
Am I interested in it? I mean, it's Mafia GTA. I never really kind of got into it, but I mean, I could understand why people like it.
yeah.
Oh wow,
I
Mafia 3 came out in 2016,
whoa. Okay.
so
I
8 years later.
Yeah, and then I think they had like a remaster or something that came out in between or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, so yeah, this is the next Mafia game. It's going to take place in Sicily, which is in Italy, if you didn't know. in the early 1900s. So it's going to be a older game. So yeah, and you can see more in December. My issue with this is
Mm.
that next year is not the year to release a Mafia game.
Heh.
Like it's they you had you had so many years before 2025 where you could release your like semi GTA like game, and you're gonna
I
release it
mean,
the
I'm
year
sure
of
it's gonna have its
GTA.
hardcore fans who love the Mafia series.
It's not gonna be enough, Sean. It's not gonna be enough. It's not gonna be enough. But we'll see.
I hope
We'll
the
see.
investors understand.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. And then the last announcement that I wanted to pull up, and we're actually going to get into the next news story with this announcement. It is secret level. Um, by the way, my order of games is not the order that was in the actual opening night live. I think Mafia: The Old Country was actually the last game that Jeff Keighley put up. But secret level, this is this was my like holy shit
Mm.
moment of the entire show. Secret level is essentially what Love, Death, Robots was to, I guess, like movies and films, where Secret Level is going to be 15 animated um episodes dealing with different game like characters. So there was Sifu, there was some Concord stuff, Armored Core,
Mm.
there's Jin from Ghost of Tsushima, there's Kratos from God of War, there's Dungeons and Dragons. There is just it's insane that this thing was like one of the best kept secrets for such a long time. Blur is a studio that's going to be working on this. And if you don't know who Blur is Mega Man. You just saw Mega Man, right?
Yeah.
Blur is one of the studios who like just produces like the best looking CG trailers for a lot of different games. So for this to be in their hands, like that is just so awesome. So yeah, this this is going to lead us into a news story talking just a little bit more about this. Let me make sure I loop this thing right here. So yes, it's going to start December 10th. Also, Pac-Man's going to be in that. So I'm just going to jump right into. You going to restart? You going to restart? I'm just going to go ahead and just restart. Okay. I'm going to jump right into the news story number 2. A list of every game featured in Amazon's promising secret level show. Man, it'd be a shame if this thing just bombed.
Mm.
But yeah, so this comes to us from Forbes by way of Paul Tassi, of course. So I pretty much talked mostly about what this thing is supposed to be.
Yep.
So in terms of the games that this is going to be covering, hopefully this is season 1 of many. You're going to have Pac-Man, Warhammer 40K, yeah, Concord,
That is
Mega
very
Man.
new. I'm surprised that's
Say
on there already.
what?
Con-
Concord?
yeah.
Well, there's a reason. I think there's a reason. You have Mega Man, Unreal Tournament, New
Also,
World of Atrium.
that's old as hell.
Say
I'm
what?
surprised Unreal Tournament is in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Armored Core, Spelunky.
Hey.
Yeah. Yep. That's what for Sean. Honor of Kings, which I think is a mobile game. Sifu, Dungeons and Dragons, The Outer Worlds, Crossfire, Exodus, and then PlayStation parentheses, which will feature a number of PlayStation games and characters. So I think the reason why Concord is on this list is
Mm.
because PlayStation was like, okay, you can get our like PlayStation stuff. You can get Kratos, you can get Ghost of Tsushima or whatever. I think someone else said the Horizon. Someone spotted like a Horizon thing in there as well.
Yeah.
But they were like, you're also going to get Concord. And I think that's why that the bullet points are weird where it's like Concord's by itself when it should be in the PlayStation like parentheses, you know. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where PlayStation is essentially trying to get Concord in as many places as possible to start that brand up, to get the recognition and get more people to play the game, because Concord is going to come out in what, 2 days at this
Yeah.
point. Um, so yeah, so that is Secret Level. I cannot wait for this. Again, it is December 10th. It's going to be on Amazon Prime Video, whatever they call that. So if you have that stuff, check it out. We'll depending we'll probably like talk about it on the cast or do like a little
Yeah,
review.
sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That is that. Number 3. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle hits Xbox and PC on December 9th, PS5 in spring 2025.
Yay.
This comes to us from Engadget by way of Jessica Condit.
Sure.
Um so yeah, the reason why I'm breaking out this article specifically beyond what we talked about in the actual game section of Gamescom is that there is some weird stuff happening here, because if we all remember back when Xbox had their conversation with us, the people, the gamers, they said that they were going to try and put 4 games onto the PlayStation and essentially test the waters to see how well those games sell. Turns out they sold pretty well. Grounded did well. I think Sea of Thieves. I just saw someone say that it got like 1 million or 1.2 million sales
Yeah.
for Sea of Thieves. Um, it was Grounded, Sea of Thieves. I don't remember the other 2 games. Anyways, the games did well. Oh, Fallout. No,
No.
no, no. Anyways, the games did well. Believe me. So,
Sea of
so
Thieves,
it
Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded.
Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I didn't also. Oh, also, Hi-Fi Rush Studios got Tango Gameworks. They got bought by PUBG
Publisher.
publisher.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they're fine. I think 50 of those positions from the studio, I'm pulling from my head at this point, is being reinstated. So at least some of the studio will be able to have their jobs back and be able to continue working. And they already said that they're going to be working on more Hi-Fi Rush stuff. So expect a
Mhm.
sequel or something coming soonish. I don't know. But yeah, back to this. Yeah, so yeah, Pentiment did well, Hi-Fi Rush did well as well. And not well to keep the studio around, but you know. So now we're here. And then actually in that story, in that point, people were speculating, oh, well, is Indiana Jones going to come to PlayStation 5? And Phil Spencer was very clear and said, no, Indiana Jones is not coming to PS5. Months removed, Indiana Jones is coming to PS5. And to me, that is signaling that this the Xbox that we knew, where they had these exclusives and it was a big deal to them, is essentially gone.
um, I mean, to make back that $70 billion purchase, you can't keep the shit on Xbox.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I think the reason they're doing this is because Game Pass as a service is pretty much saturated with. They're not gaining. I highly doubt they're gaining millions of customers. Quarter to quarter.
No, they're not.
Pretty much everyone who wants it has it right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And it's we say this all the time, is like Game Pass. In order for Game Pass to work, you have to have enough users on on that service
Yeah.
to outpace the cost of one putting new games on that service and keeping the games that are on that service still on that service. And it's like, with games being so expensive to make nowadays, and just like everybody wanting, you know, this new game to come onto Game Pass, it's just like, that's not a marathon you can win. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Microsoft could win, it has enough money, but like, it's not gonna win forever. And eventually that money will run out, because people who are on Game Pass, they're not going to buy the games for $70, for $60 because they got the subscription service. So it's just a lose-lose situation in a way. So yeah, so this is where we're at now, where we have Indiana Jones is going to come out to PS5, and I think with everything I said before this, I think this is probably the best thing that Xbox could do, which is why they're doing it, is because this ensures that this game gets in as many hands as possible and does as well as it can. And as Sean said, to recoup that money back to start building up that, I guess, war chest back up again. So yeah,
This is
it
good
kind
for
of
me. I was gonna try to figure out how to play it on Game Pass Cloud, and now I can play it natively on
yep,
PS5.
yep. And then you just have to wait until spring 2025, which is what, probably 3 months because this game
That's
comes out in
fine. I'll
December.
be busy
Yeah,
with I don't know, Call of Duty, Astro Boy, the
bot.
Plucky Squire. You know, like all them things.
Zelda.
Zelda.
Yeah,
Plenty of things coming out.
exactly. Speaking of Plucky Squire, actually, oh, actually, hey, before we do that, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Tell your friends about this. Tell your friends about this episode right now that you're listening to. Well, wait. Thank you. And then if you are listening and you just missed that whole thing, just leave us a review. Just also tell your friends about the podcast you're listening to. We'll wait again. I'll wait a little longer this time because it's harder to do the whole podcast thing. So yeah, just continue sharing, continue subscribing to the channel. Yes. All right. I nailed that one. Number 4. Hugely promising indie, The Plucky Squire launches next month. Day 1 on PlayStation Plus. This comes to us from Eurogamer.net by way of Tom Phillips. So this was a surprising one to me. I had this game on my fantasy critic from I think last year. I put it on my list thinking it was going to happen
Yeah.
last year and didn't happen last year. So is this in Silk Song that I've been like my holdouts? I still holding out for Silk Song. I don't know why though. But yeah, so Plucky Squire. This is we first saw this game last year in one of the events, and it was a really cool looking trailer where it started in 3D and you were just a little character guy and he jumped into
Yeah.
like a storybook and it became 2D and it's just like, oh man, this is really different. And after that trailer, we didn't see much of this game at all. It was like, I hope this game is okay because that looked really promising the first trailer that we saw.
Yeah.
Turns out they were just jamming in the background, getting the game ready, and it's gonna be a PlayStation Plus thing, which is like I this is also published by Devolver Digital, and they make really strong games.
Mm.
I wonder if this was a thing of Devolver coming to PlayStation. Actually, I feel like this was a thing of PlayStation coming to Devolver and be like, hey, we'll give you some money if you just throw this on PlayStation Plus. Like,
I ain't mad at it.
I know. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about this other than that. And I'm excited to actually be able to play this game because especially after playing Thank Goodness You're Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thank Goodness You're Here. Like that had the same like isometric, like flat 2D where you're just running around. And it's sort of the same as Plucky Squire as well, minus the whole 3D stuff that you can do in Plucky Squire. But yeah, this is that game, and that game is coming to PlayStation Plus. So if you have PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium, you'll be able to get this game. If you have just the standard, whatever that first tier is called,
Yeah,
sorry,
core
you
or
gotta spend.
basic, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta spend more money. Sorry. Um, yeah, okay. Well, that's that. Number 5. 89% of DevComp speakers believe AAA games don't need additional purchases. Well, this comes to us from GameStreet.biz by way of James Batchelor. So, at the DevCom Developer Conference that kicks off in Cologne today, well, when this article was written on the 19th of August, the organizers have shared the results of this year's speaker survey, with almost 90% of respondents stating they believe AAA games can succeed without additional purchases. In a survey of 100 speakers out of 300 industry experts who will take the stage over the next 2 days, 89% said AAA titles can be financially successful just by being buy to play. The result comes after years of scrutiny over add on purchases within the AAA game space, including loot boxes such as EA Ultimate Team modes for its sports games, battle slash season passes, and progress boosters such as XP multipliers and crafting resources. Elsewhere in the survey, 65% of respondents said they favored the premium model for both digital and physical games. This represented the overwhelmingly majority, with the next biggest being the 10% who preferred community funding for games, like Kickstarter, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Or yeah, with just one person champion free to play titles with ads. He was just-
Who is that person?
all right. He said, "You can't beat me." I love my gotcha queens. All right. So yeah, they get into like AI stuff, but like I think this is sort of the crux of the conversation here. I think this is interesting. I would the survey is of 100 speakers out
Mhm.
of the 300 industry experts who was there. So that's a good amount of um a good number of people that was at this event. And
Yeah.
I think that does say something, in that like a majority of them who are working on these games, who are in the industry, are saying like we we don't need to throw all these like added microtransactions on these premium titles. Like they're good being $70. And I think that's also I think it gets weird because when we look at PlayStation, when we look at kind of Xbox, or like when we look at like an EA or an Ubisoft
Yeah.
report their earnings, are just like, hey man, things are expensive to make. We need more money. And it's like, well, do you? Do you really? Uh,
Yeah, their CEO needs to buy a new yacht. I think
the
they're
old
just
yacht is yucky and has dirt on it.
focusing on graphics over gameplay nowadays. So yes, the games cost money to make, but like if they're fun to play, I don't know. It's easy to sell glitz and flash and glam to the average person.
Hmm.
I have no further comments. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
I understand why games cost what they do now, but like I've said over and over again, when they had more limits that they had to overcome, I feel like the games were better for that. Now they have unlimited, ceiling for a
yeah,
budget and time and all
yeah,
that stuff, and they're just squandering it.
yeah, yeah. And like, just to get to the whole conversation of like the the limits, when there was like really hard limits on
Yeah.
what you can do in a video game, that's when like we got a lot of creative stuff. And I don't know, I was listening to some podcast and they made the like point, and it's just like, because technically we don't really have that kind of eye into like the PC market.
Hmm.
And it's like the PC market is kind of popping off in terms of, we have all these like crazy creative games that are coming out and that are doing the like creative things that what we are looking for in these like, bigger AAA games, where a majority of these AAA games, because they're so big, they're playing it safe, and they're not really doing anything daring or risky because they don't want to lose the millions and millions of dollars they put into this. Like, I don't know, I
Man,
was gonna
give
make a
me
dumb joke,
some
but yeah.
fucking strong, 360 PS3 era graphics or PS4, Xbox One, graphics and make that shit run good.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's like,
At this point, we shouldn't be sacrificing, 30 frame. We shouldn't have to choose between performance and quality mode in these games.
yeah. And the only reason why that is in play is because the dev the dev side is yeah, I'm not even sure if it's the dev side or if it's the publisher side. There
Hmm.
is a side that is pushing for like hyper realistic graphics and like everything has to look like super crazy. The lighting has to be like completely out of this world. And it's just like
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like that stuff don't matter if I'm barely like looking at any of that stuff because one, the game is
you're
bugged
running
because there's so
2K.
many
Yeah.
issues in this thing. Yeah, and it's just like just make the game stylized, look cool. Like Overwatch has a great art direction. Like
Hmm.
that works. Like that's a great example right there. And they can get that game running 60. But yeah, Black Myth Wukong does look pretty nice though.
Foolish.
I terrible. All right. Okay. Number 6. Xbox confirms core and standard Game Pass tiers will wait up to 12 months plus for first party games. So this is a conference. Oh, this also comes to us from gamesindustry.biz um, by way of Vicky Blake. So this is a confirmation on um, their change that they made, I guess like a month ago or a couple months ago
Hmm.
to the Game Pass subscription service.
Yeah.
In that core or standard tier is not going to get day and date games, and again, it's the same with core as well. So now they've confirmed that you have to wait 12 or more months after release. So this gets kind of weird in that if you were a dedicated Game Pass or no, if you looked at Xbox, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get Game Pass and I'm gonna get the standard tier.
Hmm.
That standard tier, okay, yeah, you get that standard tier, and you're like, okay, I don't want to get Game Pass Ultimate, but I want to wait and get um Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yeah.
The people on PlayStation is going to get that game before I get that game.
I mean, but you're playing it for free. Well, free.
Free-ish. You're right. Yeah. And it's like it's a weird thing of just like when you put it in perspective like that, it's like, man, that
But I mean,
kind of
you're not
sucks.
you're not you're not subscribing to those tiers to play things day and dates. I mean, there is a whole subreddit
Well, not
called
anymore.
Patient Gamers will where people will wait like 2, 3 years to play a game and wait for the price to come down to 10, 15, $20. So I mean like
That's true.
this tier is for people who don't care about playing certain things day and date. Who's to say they want to play that? You know what I mean? On day one. They have a whole
That's true.
backlog
That's true.
of amazing games to play through. So it is what it is.
Yeah. They can play all the Halos, I think. I hope. I
Yeah, they'll
hope.
play
I
all
don't
the
know.
Call of Duties.
Yeah. Yeah. Or as Jordan does, the Mass Effects. That's still a great game.
The greatest
Okay.
deal in gaming, and he chooses to play Mass Effect 15 times. I'm not calling nobody out. This is what
This
he's
is
telling
safe
us to
space.
subscribe to play. It's
Exactly.
all good.
Exactly.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so the rest of these are quick hits. Number 7. Zelda movie screenwriter is working on a live action Eternal Champions film. Let's get
Excuse
excited,
me?
guys.
I don't think our I don't think a lot of our audience knows what the hell that is.
Nope, nope, nope. I would pull up a video on it, but it would be so pixelated that you wouldn't even tell what was actually happening.
When did Eternal Champions come out? That came out in
1996.
no 93.
What did it was 93?
Yeah,
Oh shit. Oh, okay.
93 Eternal Champions. It was a 2D side view fighting game on the
Yes.
Sega Genesis.
That was in the era where Mortal Kombat was king, and there was a bunch of Mortal Kombat clones. Eternal Champions being sort of like a Mortal Kombat clone in terms of it was a
Mhm.
a violent fighting game where you had a bunch of different characters. Um, I played a lot
It
of Eternal Champions.
I played
I
like
don't
one
think it was.
fight.
Oh, I had the game. I bought the game. It
All of
was not a very good game. It was not a very good game.
did you play
Um,
with the controller or the Sega Activator?
No, I had the controller. I wasn't money bags, you know what I mean?
Yeah, broke bitch. And for anyone who
Yeah, it
doesn't
was.
know, the Sega Activator was a motion controlled controller. Yo.
They had motion controls back then, huh? That's
No, no,
crazy.
no, no, no. Okay, so let me explain what it is. It was an octagon that you step in, and basically you pass your hand over certain quadrants, and it would activate a button, corresponding button on screen. I'm just thinking about
I
all the people who play uh Elden Ring with random ass and Souls games with random ass controllers. I
yeah,
wonder.
I have never heard of the Sega Activator thing.
I knew
That
about
is
all the
crazy.
things and had none of the money to get them.
Yeah, yeah. Like, oh, that's cool. I'll never buy that. So yeah, shout out to the other three of us that is excited and jazzed for this whole live action Eternal Champions thing.
This
By
is
the
so
way,
random.
yeah, this is probably not going to be a great film if it even becomes
It's
a
gonna be the
film.
greatest film, sir.
It's gonna be this and then Borderlands. Oh, jeez. Okay, number 8. The First Descendant has lost almost 70% of its players since launch. This comes to us from the gamer. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the
I
ebb and
understand
flow
why. Mm,
of the free to play. Yeah. Yeah. I again, that game is super, super grindy, and it only a select number of players will be down for the grind, and just like to just get anything really, it's a lot of time. It's a big time investment. So that kind of makes sense. And then like again, this is the ebb and flow of these free to play games. Like Helldivers 2 is having the same thing where they're losing players,
mhm.
and really and truly it's one of the things where the players that play the game and enjoy the game are still there to play the game, but they're waiting for the new content drop. So
Yeah.
once that expansion drops, I think in First Ascendant they actually had a character drop, but again, that's character, not really like content. So once we get those content drops, then you'll get the influx of people coming, and then it'll shoot up again, then it'll drop down again, and then it's just the wave. It's just doing the wave. So yeah, last thing, number 9. Black Myth Wukong smashes Power World and Counter-Strike 2 to become the second most played Steam game of all time, less than a day after launch, and it's gaining on PUBG's gold medal. This comes to us from PC Gamer. So yeah, Black Myth Wukong. It, it was a game, it is a game, and it came out and it has just been smashing. You might wondering like how why is it doing this well? Well, because of China. So like
Act
80% say what?
China.
China.
Hey, Marcus, can we get that sound bite of Donald Trump saying "Ask China"?
Can we get someone impersonating Donald Trump? Let's not give him the actual click, you know? um so yeah, like and this stuff is being tracked by Steam database. Um Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just check the number right now as we're talking, and I can't read this to save my time. I can't.
Last time I
Um,
checked, it was 2.2 million, 2,223,000 and some change concurrent players, and that's just on Steam.
wait,
Apparently, huh?
you said 2.2. This is this
Two
is
million.
2.3 million.
Oh, okay, so up to 2.3. Okay, and
That's
then
insane.
yeah, and it's also driving PS5 sales faster than the PS4.
So the
Hey,
so okay,
hey. It drove PS5 to the top of Alibaba Tmall, whatever the hell that is.
Alibaba
Um,
is like the Chinese
yeah, I know what that is, and I don't know what
Amazon
the
or
Tmall
something.
is, but it
Oh,
is
I don't know.
selling twice as fast than the PS4 did in China. So, I
That
mean,
is
when you make
that
a
is
game
insane.
respectful of, a culture's culture, a country's
Yes.
culture, they'll come and support it. Plus, I mean, they have the largest. They're projected to be one of the largest markets in the coming
Yeah,
years.
exactly, exactly.
They
And
have
like that's one of the biggest things here is that like this is essentially the China effect. This is a thing that the industry I don't know. I don't know if China effect is a bad thing. I'm just gonna use it right now. If it is, I apologize. I did not mean to offend, but this is just a thing that we are reading and we're seeing and we're witnessing. But like this is a thing that the industry is chasing in terms of this player base that has been
yeah.
pretty much untapped by most of the US like in
They
a
don't
games
know what
industry.
that market wants.
Exactly. That's the thing. And like that's why like it hasn't been tapped in the same way. Also, like they don't I mean they have consoles, but it's just kind of weird over there in terms of like how tight China is on regulating stuff and
Yeah,
it's easier to have a game on Steam do well over there than a game on console. But
yeah.
this seems to be like kind of breaking that barrier down. But again, like this, if you don't know, Black Myth Wukong is essentially a retelling of Sun Wukong, which is the Monkey King, which is what Goku from Dragon Ball, actually mostly Dragon Ball is based off of. Like Goku, like Sun Goku is Sun Wukong. So yes, like that's how old this is actually the whole Sun Wukong thing is way older than that. This is like myths and legends. Um so yeah, it is insane to see that it's doing this well. The actual game itself, we'll talk about it in the what we've been playing section. So Sean and I have been playing Black Myth Wukong. Um so Sean, do you yeah, actually you can go ahead and give your impressions on it because I've played a bit more than you have.
Yeah, so at first, the intro seemed pretty cool, but I did not like his voice. And I thought that was going to be. Is that a spoiler?
No, that's not a spoiler.
I thought that was going to be who you were going to be playing as. So you start out as the actual, like,
Sun Wukong.
yeah, but it's two different
Yeah.
people, or is he resurrected?
S-
I think it's two
a
different
little
people.
bit of A column, B column.
Okay.
Because
Oh, yeah.
the I think the point is resurrection,
Hmm.
but you're not actually the same character.
So you start out as the monkey god. I'm not sure. I don't remember what they said his name was the same as Sun Wukong,
Yeah.
but
It's Sun Wukong. It's Sun
his
Wukong.
voice was hella annoying to be the main character, and I'm glad that you only playing for him as what 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, not much. Not much.
Um, Gameplay wise, the game feels solid. There's a weird thing, and maybe it's me with when I'm turning the camera, it gets kind of blurry, or I don't know. I don't like the way it looks. Maybe I need to turn
Yeah.
down the blur, but it's
Yeah. I the first thing I did, I jumped into settings and I was pressing them buttons. I was like, I don't want motion blur. I turned off some other stuff too. Yeah, turn that off. Just you don't need it. You don't need it.
okay.
Just yeah.
I'm wondering if that's affecting the performance as well. I'm not sure, but
Did you
overall, huh?
did you do graphics, performance, or balance?
I got performance mode.
Okay, I did balance, but I turn off the motion blur and like it runs. really good on balance.
I'm wondering if that's the issue. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't know if there's a map in the game. Is there?
No,
Have you?
there's no map.
Okay.
No,
So
there's no
you're
map.
wandering around, but it seems pretty linear with some branching patches, paths.
Hmm.
Um, I think it seems unique enough to where you're not getting lost. You can kind of make your way around because I did go off the beaten path and like loop back to different portions. Um, he feels pretty fun to play as. You have a bunch of skill trees. It is not a straight up boss rush the way it was described, at least from what I've seen so far.
I
Um,
agree. It's not.
I did not beat the man with the fire staff or whatever. I got stuck
Okay.
on the big headed wandering white, the blue guy. He's just whooping my ass, and I didn't take the time to learn his attack patterns or cheese the freeze spell. But I'm enjoying it, but I want to
Yeah.
finish Final Fantasy before I give Black Myth Wukong my full attention. So I have
Yeah.
also jumped to Final Fantasy. I'm maybe like 3 or 4 chapters away from finishing that.
Okay.
I
Okay. That's
definitely
what's
will
up.
not be doing the full platinum now that other game
Yeah.
comes out.
So yeah, I completed again, I started the game last night and I completed chapter 1 last night. I believe there are 6 chapters, maybe 6 or 7 chapters.
Mm,
Um I am also really enjoying this game. The game, people are trying to peg it as a Souls like. It is not a Souls like. The game is hard, the game is challenging, but it's not a Souls like. If you die in this game, you don't lose your XP or lose your like essence or souls and you got to go get it and get it back or whatever. It's none of that. Like if you die if you die at any point in the game, you will just restart back at the last like
checkpoint.
prayer like essence thing, and it's like a
Yeah,
checkpoint essentially. And um you can kind of farm like enemies like in certain areas to like
it just
gain
takes a while.
levels. Yeah, you can also respec your character at any point in time. um I really like the combat. Like I kind of had to get used to the fact that okay, well, there's no parrying and there's no blocking. It's just dodging. And you have a perfect dodge and you just have a normal dodge. And you get, with levels up, you get skill points. You can put those skill points into increasing the effects and the efficiency of your dodge, your stamina use, your damage dealing, your skills, all that stuff. It's just a
Yeah,
3D or third person action like
it's a good old
RPG.
hard action game like they used to make them.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is. And like I'm really enjoying it. Right now I'm playing the very beginning part of the game so
Hmm.
you can see Sung Wukong. If you know the story, like I know a bit of the story, and like this part I kind of popped off because I was like, oh my god, I actually know what's happening here. Like this is really cool. But yeah, like I find the game very interesting. Like it is so cool to see. Like I'm gonna call this a AAA game just because the production value, the
Yeah,
production quality of this is like top tier. Like it is so cool to see a triple A like game of this stature come to us that is dealing with mythology that is completely different from the Japanese mythology, the North mythology that we like see all the time.
yeah.
So like it's really cool.
I
In
like that.
term Good.
What they originally showed us. Granted, I think it was a little bit more graphically intense. It may look better on the PC, but it's not
Yeah.
complete bullshit compared to
Yeah.
what they originally announced. It
Yeah.
looks pretty close to what they promised.
Yeah.
Um,
They got it as close as
and
possible.
I would give this a pass for any gripes that I may come up with, just because this is their first AAA game coming
Yeah.
from. They used to make mobile games. Like this is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Like they stepped up to the plate and they hit a home run and this is doing like really really well. Um in terms of the enemies and like the bosses are hard. Like there is a skill check with that blue big-headed dude
Wandering
pretty
Light.
early on. Yeah, wandering right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like Like when you guys were talking about him, I was like, all right, I'll see what he's about. I ran up to him, but he said, not today. And I was like, oh God. I was like, okay, let me go figure this game out some more and I'll be back for you, sir. But like, and that's what I did. Like I went around, I beat the fire guy, I got
Mhm.
his ability, and like I went back to the wandering white, fought him again, I died again, and I was like,
Wait, should I
okay,
fight the fire dude first?
yeah, you can fight the fire dude first. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if
Yeah.
like the path
If it was
to
gonna,
proceed was behind him or the wandering white.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the one thing that I would kind of ding the game is like I at least I might be off base here. Like somehow I was able to do the trail to the main path kind of thing,
Mhm.
but I couldn't figure out how to like do it on purpose. It would just kind of happen sometimes. I think there needs to be a bit more signaling of like this is the main path. Like you can do side stuff, but
Mm,
this is the main path, or like a little marker out in the
something like
distance. Like
Elden Ring kind of where there's a light or essence guiding me to the next.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
It has that sometimes.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it triggers for some reason, but I at least I don't know how to do it. I can go look in the menus and figure
Yeah, I
out
was
if
gonna
there's
say
actually like
Final
a way.
Fantasy also has that, so I was trying to figure out if I
Yeah,
was getting them confused.
yeah. So like that's the one thing that I'll ding it for because I basically had that same issue where I was like, okay, well, I could go fight this fire guy over here, but then I gotta fight the big
I'm
head
I'm
blue
not gonna
guy.
ding them for that. They shouldn't
Yeah.
have to hold your hand.
Well, that's
And I,
true
and I, and
too.
I and I don't mean your hand specifically, but
Yeah.
it's more of a there's no map. Just
Just figure it
amble your
out.
way through the game and have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that ended up being the thing that I ended up doing was just like, okay, well, I'll just poke and prod this way, go to a certain point, stop, turn around, go back and just like explore like literally the area in that way and
Mhm.
just figure out, can I go down this path? I can't. Okay, let me go try this path. I can go down this path. Okay. And like I think that system works really, really well. And like on top of like all of that, like I feel like the actual things that I'm finding, I'm figuring out what they do. Like I got to the point where I can craft armor and weapons. Well, I can
Mhm.
craft armor and I can upgrade my weapon. And like I kind of made a mistake and I was like, dang, I just ran out of silk. I got to figure out how to get more silk now. And it's just the thing of just like you're just having to learn this game. Um I don't I'm thinking if I have any negatives for this game right now, and I don't really have. And also, I'm also really early in this game. I well, okay. The one thing that I need to figure out a bit more is how dodging works with combat because it feels like I dodge and I kind of get stuck not being able to hit for a second or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like how the game works or if I'm doing something wrong. So that's something that I got to figure out before I can, fully say like, okay, well, this thing is like a problem. Um, yeah, and then like the controls, I feel like the controls are pretty solid. They allow you to customize your buttons, which I love. Every game should do that. Just let me set
Mhm.
my buttons, and if I make a mistake, I can fix that. But yeah, overall, I'm having a good time with the game. Yeah, man. Like I fought a this is no spoiler because they actually show you this in one of the promo trailers. I fought a gold-headed version of that blue-headed the wandering white.
Oh gosh.
And like yeah, I thought like I was gonna have a problem with him, but I beat him like the first try.
Mm.
And that's the thing too, is like once you get a sense of like how the game works,
Yeah.
like you're able to really, really like dig in and like really play the game. And then like also just looking at the skills and stuff. I saw a way of so okay, I will talk about real quick about the um there is three fighting styles. There's a normal smash with the bow staff. There is a um like a power pole, like a Goku power pole where the bow staff
Mhm.
extends out. That's a style. And then there is like a style where you jump on the bow staff and it extends going straight up. Then you can like jump off, flip off, and use the bow staff and like hit someone going down or whatever. Those are the 3 different styles that you can like spec into with your skill points. And apparently the different bosses you fight are susceptible to like those styles.
Yeah.
So you can run to a boss, fight the boss, lose to the boss, and be like, okay, let me take my skill points and put it into the power pole like pushing
Oh,
style,
respecing
and like
between
that
each
could be
boss.
more effective. Yeah.
Okay.
So like that
I
was
probably
something that
won't
I
use
didn't
that.
know. But like that was something that I didn't know until I saw a video of like this person like, oh, I just beat this boss like easy. And like, yeah, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. So yeah, the game is really great. I'm having a good time. You'll get more of this from us in the future once we get further in this game. But right
Yeah.
now, that is it. That is it for this episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Oh, wait. Let me get out of that and redo that because that's going to be a pain for me. Well, now that is it for this episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it and talking to you about video games. Don't forget, you can support us by liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and hit the notification bell. Don't forget, you can do us a solid by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever podcast service you're currently tuned in on. And if you want, you can join the conversations at our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. Until next time, we'll be talking about more games, of course. We hope you have a good day, a good night. Wash your hands, play video games. And at the end of all that, play some more video games. Peace. Okay.